This video is going to bring a number of components together. One being the release of the movie The Walk, which is connected to the Back to the Future movies, and that is very clearly laid out in this video, Back to the Future Predicts 9/11, on this YouTube channel, which I highly recommend that you watch, just to see how Robert Zemeckis, the director of both sets of movies, ties the two together. We're also, through the course of this presentation, going to show you the connection to Horus as depicted by the Egyptian god Ra and Amun-Ra, and the number 88 and the number 888 and the number 8, how it is linked in all of these connections, and also how it connects with the Large Hadron Collider, the year 5776, which is the Scottish Rite year for the capping of the pyramid, for the Year of Light, and for the culmination of their plans. It also ties in the Rugby World Cup, which is being used as symbolism for all of this. So we'll move on to the next slide. So the movie The Walk is released in October 2015, and that is to coincide with the year 5776, which started in September. Also, Oct is the verbalization of the Aten, or as the Catholics introduced, the Amen, which is a reference to Ra, the god, and not really Christian in any way. So we're going to see also a breakdown of what this wire is that connects the two towers, and he walks across it. Of course, what it represents is the wormhole, or the time travel, the time wire that links two times together. And this, of course, is from the movies Back to the Future, where in order to time travel, they have to travel at 88 miles per hour. What's interesting is if you look at 88 hours, is 5,280 minutes, which is a mile in feet, 5280, which is interesting, isn't it? So there's another picture from that set of movies, Back to the Future. And here we link it in with the Twin Towers and how they've represented the Twin Towers. So this is the Tribute in Light. The Tribute in Light is an art installation of 88 searchlights. So there you can see this is a iconography from the Back to the Future movies, and there you can see how it symbolically represents the two towers, or the two beams of light, and the 88 that you need to have in order to attain. And there's a picture from the movie going at 88 miles per hour to time travel, to walk the wire. 88 miles per hour time travel. So here is a breakdown of the Tribute in Light, which I did in one of my earlier videos, the 88 searchlights. Here they cryptically give some more references to the number 8 and the 88, which I broke down to bring it into 3/8 by this calculation. Again, you can watch my earlier video, Tower of Defiance 888, to get a better breakdown of that. So we see this reference to the Twin Towers as pine trees. Now that's interesting because pine trees are the best visual example of tree rings. Of all trees have tree rings, but the best ones to view tree rings or annular rings are pine trees. And the study of timelines by tree rings is called dendrochronology. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but that's how I'm pronouncing it. And here you can see the breakdown of this word is dendron, tree limb, chronos, time. So we can see how these are linked with time travel. So this is a clip separate from this clip down here, but this is just like one presentation that's going to be done next year on March 2016. They're calling this Tree Ring Time Machine, Understanding Past Climate Through Dendrochronology. So you can see this ghostly background is the on Back to the Future when they travel to 2015. This is what they see on their machine. October 21, 2015, and that's their present time, which is ironic because we're almost at that time right now. And if you have two pine trees and you run a wire between them, symbolically you can connect 2 points in time. And here I've just done an example of connecting the 21st of October 2015 to the 26th of October 1985, which is the stage here, October 26, 1985. So you see the whole symbolism of the twin pines and the wire joining them, allowing you to walk the wire between time. And we see a slide I did from one of my earlier videos. The two towers were always going to be joined. That's why there was a wire connecting them before these were completed, because it was symbolic of the completion, the completed work that would be completed, ready for the year 5776, because the final piece of this building was the One World Observatory, which was completed on the it was in May 2015 and opened to the public on the 29th of May 2015. We can see that it's a combination of the two buildings. It has 8 sides, and it's symbolic of joining the two 888s. Symbolically, one represents Jesus and one symbolically represents Apollo. And we saw from Tom Horn's book Zenith 2016 that the joining of the two is symbolic of the Eagle of Eagles, which represents the rejection of Jesus and the acceptance of Apollo as their leader. And what's also interesting is this height in feet. If I'm correct, I believe in gematria, 3168 is Lord Jesus Christ. So you can see why they made it that height as well. Obviously they couldn't make it 3,168 feet because that would be too tall, but they made it 1,368, and there's a reference to that as well. So if we look at two pines together, you see when by joining the two pines into the lone pine, you now have your time machine, because you don't need a wire anymore. They're connected. Any point in time on the one can be joined to any point on time on the other, and that's what the lone pine is all about. It's joining time or opening a portal. So in the movie The Walk, as he's as he's stepping out his first steps onto the wire, the clouds come across the wire, blocking his view to the other end. So he describes at this moment, he says, the wire stretches to infinity. And of course the infinity symbol is a number 8 on its side. He also, in the movie, says that when he first saw the high wire, he was aged 8. Now that's no coincidence, because we see the reference to the number 8 in all of this, and the number 88 and the number 888. Also, when he does this walk, we find out later in my slides that when he really did it, he walked across backwards and forwards 8 times. Now, there's just too many coincidences with this number 8 for it to be a coincidence, and it's not. Now, whether the man was manipulated with mind control to do all of this, we don't know, but it is a possibility, because this stuff goes deep. So here you can see that if you put 2 pine tree rings, you can complete the infinity symbol. Now, the annular rings on trees come from the seasons, which is the position of the sun in the sky throughout the year. And if you plot the position of the sun at the same time throughout the year, you will get this symbol 8, this infinity symbol. And it's called the analemma, if I'm pronouncing that right. So do you see how deep all of this goes? You won't have the tree rings if you didn't have this. And so this is symbolic of the passage of time, the infinity symbol, the analemma, the sun being a time portal. And that's why the Large Hadron Collider has been built on Earth, because it's a time portal between the sun and the Earth. So we just come back to this number 8 again in the connection with the Back to the Future movies, the movie The Walk, the actual 9/11 site, Ground Zero. So you have the 8-acre memorial site. The whole site of the memorial and the buildings is 16 acres. So the park is 8 acres, the rest of the site is 8 acres. There's your 88 again. The actual One World Trade Center is got 8 sides. So it has 8 tall isosceles triangles making up the sides, and near its middle of the tower forms a perfect octagon. And there you can see from the movie Jupiter Ascending, when Jupiter is ascended, when Lucifer is risen, he's on an octagon. So the actual event of the walk, where Petit walked between the Twin Towers, you see here it was shortly after 7 a.m., which means it is in the 8th hour. And we can see here on the Back to the Future movie, the year 2015, October 21, the time is 7:28, is in the 8th hour. So that's connected to the actual walk itself, which is being shown in movies in October 2015, and obviously will be showing on the 21st of October. Do you see how the movie The Walk is actually a time portal? And it's actually presented when you watch the movie, especially if you watch it in 3D and at an IMAX, you're actually put on the wire. That's the whole intention of Robert Zemeckis. He puts you in the wormhole, the time line, the time connector between the Twin Towers, between the pines. So we also see here he made 8 passes along the wire. Again, is that a coincidence? So here is we're going to connect this with the sun god Ra, who is called Horus, in another name for him is Horus, and of course his name is Apollo in the Greek and Roman mythology. So the symbol for the material radium is Ra. It has an atomic number of 88, and atomic mass units has a AMU is the short name for atomic mass units, and we're going to tie that together. Ra, who is Horus. Ra, who is Horus. And there you can see he was Amun rose to prominence. He was fused with Ra as Amun Ra. We also see that Akhenaten favored the solar deity Aten, which is also another solar deity, and we can see there's a company called Aten, and the connection with the number 88 and 888. So here, if we look at the symbol for radium, its atomic number and Amu. Do you see you have Amun Ra 88? Amun was combined with the sun god Ra. He was even more powerful. Amun Ra 88. This stuff doesn't happen by coincidence. It's all programmed. And there you can see Ra, who is Horus. And Horus is Apollo. And Apollo is connected to the Large Hadron Collider because it's built on Apollonia, which was an ancient temple to Apollo. So the One World Trade Center's One World Observatory announces May the 29th as the opening date. And how is that connected to all of this? Well, the Higgs boson, sorry, not boson, was announced in, was it 2012 or 2013 as the God particle, and that was named after Peter Higgs, and he was born on the 29th of May. So you see how the opening of the eye of the One World Observatory at the top of the pyramid, is this enlightenment, as they would try to put it, of the God particle, of attaining godhood, almost, as it were. So now I'm going to tie in October the 21st, 2015, how it symbolically connects it all in the year 5776. So here is the Masonic symbology of the symbol of America, how it was founded in the year 1776, supposedly, how it will attain in the year 2016, or the year 576 in Scottish Rite Freemasonry belief and the Jewish calendar, that as we saw on the One World Trade Center's observatory in the year 2015, the eye and the light burst opens. And here's just an interesting breakdown of the year 1776 to 2016 is 240 years. 240 divided by 3 is 80, which can be represented as 888. And there you can see the Pyramid of Giza. They believe it is 5,776 inches tall. If the capstone was there, that's how they link that in with this year 5776, which starts in September 2015. And here it is, the Scottish Rite and their calendar. So the Anno Mundi also begins with the date of the creation of the world, but is based upon the older Hebrew calendar, which begins the civil year in September rather than in January. So Anno Mundi is found by adding 3,760 years to the current year. After September, you add an extra year. So if the current date is July 2010 or July 2015, you add 3760. So if it was July 2015, it would be 5775. But if it was October 2015, it would be 5776. The Scottish Rite Masonic calendar celebrates the creation of the world in 3760, before the beginning of the Common Era. It is counted using the Hebrew calendar. So, what was so important about October the 21st? October the 21st, 2015, is the first day of the 8th year of the Large Hadron Collider. The Large Hadron Collider was inaugurated on October the 21st, 2008. Sorry, yeah, that's in there by mistake. October the 21st, 2008. The 21st of October 2008, when the Large Hadron Collider was inaugurated, was Shemini Atzeret, if that's pronounced correctly, which it probably isn't, on the Hebrew calendar, which means the 8th day of assembly. Do you see how this is all connected to the 8? Right? The first day of the 8th year in 2015, and it was opened on the 8th day of assembly on October 2008, 21st, Shemi Atzeret, which means the 8th day of assembly. Do you see how this is all connected? So, October the 21st, 2015, and the beginning of the year 5776, which started on the 14th of September 2015, and here it is, September 2015, Rosh Hashanah 5776 starts on the 14th. It actually starts on the evening of the 13th, but the first sunrise is on the 14th of September, Rosh Hashanah 5776. What's also interesting about the time machine in Back to the Future, this date, October 21st, 2015, the time, 7:28, 7 hours 28 minutes. If you break this down, 7 times 60 plus 28 is 448. You split the 4 from the 8, 2 4s is an 8, plus 8 is 88. Again, is that a coincidence? So, we're going to see what the 21st of October means to the 14th of September. And here it is. So, between the beginning of the year 5776 and the 21st of October 2015 is 888 hours, 37 days. Do you see how this is all connected? And 888 is the number of Jesus Christ and the number of Apollo. And we saw already that Jesus was rejected by the Masons, and Apollo has been embraced. And that's why they're not referencing Jesus here, they're referencing Apollo. And so even if you took if we put in the 7 hours 28 minutes, which is sunrise, right? That's when the sun's rising, and it's in the 8th hour of the day. So even if we put the 7 hours 28 when the sun rises on the first day of the Rosh Hashanah, the 5776 start date, you obviously, if these times are the same here, you will get the 888. So here is the breakdown. Apollo is connected to 888, and the Sibylline oracle gave this utterance that his number would be 888, and adepts of the mystical order actually go to great lengths to show how this addition, the two messiahs, Jesus and Apollo, is 1776, which is represented on that symbol of the pyramid and they believe it's the cardinal number of the great work. And we saw how America is being used as the great work. And it's known as the Eagle of Eagles, reflected in the well-known Masonic symbol of the two-headed eagle or phoenix. And we're going to see the phoenix in the connection to the Rugby World Cup and South Africa. So you see, they believe that this joining is the merging of the two gods, in this instance Jesus and Apollo. Now this is all taken from Tom Horn's Zenith 2016, so the credit goes to him on that. So how is it all connected to the Rugby World Cup as well? Well, the Rugby World Cup, this World Cup we're having right now, which started a few days after the beginning of the year 5776, is the 8th World Cup. I mean, you just can't make the stuff up, can you? So there you have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 2015 is the 8th one. And here is from the opening ceremony of the Rugby World Cup, which happened a few days, in fact 3 and somewhat days after the Rosh Hashanah on the 14th of September 2015. The opening cup ceremony was on the 18th of September 2015, what's interesting is 88 hours is very close between those two dates. And as I've mentioned earlier in this video, 88 hours is, if I believe correctly, 5,280 minutes. Well, 5,280 feet is a mile. So you saw in Back to the Future, you have to travel at 88 miles an hour to time travel. And 88 being the symbol of Ra, the sun god, and of course Apollo being represented by the number 888. Well, anyway, if you watch the opening ceremony, you will see they strip away the ball, which could be represented as the seed or the egg of humanity hatching, and this is his greatest achievement, enlightenment. Before this boy, who represents William Webb Ellis, who has the skull and crossbones, and we see that with the Skull and Crossbones Society of the which George Bush and family is associated with, we see these two circuits, one going this way and one going that way. And before he lifts this cup, which could be the Holy Grail when you think about it, they have lights moving that way and light moving that way, and they collide at this point. Do you see how this is representing the Large Hadron Collider? The lights move in a flowing pattern to collide where the two circuits meet until he lifts the cup. When he lifts the cup, the lights stop moving and they start flashing blue, which is connected to Osiris. And we know that the eye of Horus at the top of the pyramid is also the eye Horus gave his father Osiris to bring him back to life. So we see the cup, or the Holy Grail, and that's all. And there's the pyramid, obviously, with the masons at the top, and the Holy Grail being achieved in the year 5776. The Rugby World Cup opening ceremony, 18th of September 2015, as I said, roughly 88 hours after the 14th of September. We see the light burst behind the eye, and there you have the cup being raised at the top where the eye is, and the light colliding at the top the starburst, the collision, the light burst or the collision. You see how it's all connected. So what's interesting is South Africa in their first game, they lost to Japan, which is an historic moment because it was not expected. But this is the build-up to it. South Africa named their most capped team with 880 caps. You see that number 88? The tally eclipses their previous best. There's a reference to eclipses. And what eclipses? The sun. So who beat them? Japan beat them. And so here we see the symbol for South Africa is a kestrel, but it can also be represented as a phoenix because the phoenix has that funny tuft of feathers that come out the back of its head. There's the pyramid. There's the rising sun. Japan is the land of the rising sun. So do you see that unexpected victory of Japan was the sun consuming the phoenix, right? The phoenix is consumed by the sun, only to be reborn again. And here we see it's at the top of the pyramid. So the land of the rising sun beat South Africa, which burnt the phoenix, and from the ashes South Africa rises. And we saw this symbol was ingrained into people's minds around the world at Mandela's funeral. There's a pyramid symbol he's making there, which was covered massively around the world. Television networks descend on South Africa to cover Mandela's funeral. Died on Friday, prompting an outpouring of remembrances from all over the world. Broadcast and cable news networks have begun to announce special coverage plans from South Africa. And Mandela is connected to the Rugby World Cup because in 1995 he inspired South Africa to victory in the Rugby World Cup final. And how is that connected to 2015? Well, because of that, he's been inducted into the Rugby World Hall of Fame, and that induction happened on the 3rd of October 2015. So why is that all connected? Because South Africa is the birthplace of humanity, and it's humanity who have ascended to reach godhood according to the Masons, by means of the Large Hadron Collider, to open up time, to master time, because God and Jesus are beyond time, and man wants to reach beyond time. And if he can do that, he believes he will become a god. And that's what Lucifer promised to Eve in the Garden of Eden, that if she ate of the tree of the fruit of knowledge of the fruit of the tree of knowledge, man would gain intellect and would himself become God. That's what they believe, that's their doctrine, and that's what they believe they're achieving here in the year 5776. And the CERN Hadron Collider is the device, which is the key that opens that all up to them. That's what they believe. Whether they're going to achieve it or not, I don't know, because we don't have all the information, but I think they're pretty close. And that means everything is going to start happening very soon. So here you can see South Africa they keep promoting this, and you heard in the news not so long ago they supposedly found another body in South Africa. That's why they bring it into your subconscious. And you can go and look for that story. I think it was about a month or 2 months ago, where supposedly another creature was found which they claim was our ancestor. But you can see how the United Nations, which is behind all this, and of course the Jesuits as well, who are behind the UN, have labeled South Africa as the cradle of humankind. And that's why South Africa, on 880 caps, was sacrificed to Japan, the sun, the land of the rising sun, South Africa as the phoenix, only to rise from the ashes. Now, does that mean South Africa's going to win the World Cup? Possibly. We'll have to see. I think that's what this is all pointing to. Of course, it's all pointing to humanity reaching godhood. But it'll be interesting to see if South Africa does win the World Cup, because I think that would verify a lot of this. So you can see they say humankind came from South Africa. That's huge. That's huge. You know, you can't say that that's not important. That is massive in their belief system, because they believe humanity is God. That's what they believe. So is the symbolism around this South African symbol being the phoenix rising from the ashes, and humanity rising from its birthplace in South Africa as a phoenix to the top of the pyramid to reach the new golden age of humanity. That's very interesting, and this next part will be a short clip from the opening ceremony of the Rugby World Cup. You'll see them singing about the world being in union, the world as one, reaching our destiny. There's a man that raps saying that we came from the earth and to the earth we will return. Is CERN a portal for something to return, or is it just a time machine? I guess we will find out. So enjoy the little clip from the opening ceremony of the World Cup, and thanks for watching my video.
Here comes old William Webb.